Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Hey, thanks for joining us. It's Dr. Homebrew, the only show that gives you expert BJCP feedback on your homebrews. You send the beer to us, we drink it. We may or may not belch the alphabet afterwards, but we give you proper feedback, and you win stuff. We have a lot of cool sponsors on the show that provide you with some cool stuff. So it's Dr. Homebrew, baby. It's the only show you need to be listening to. I mean, except for the other shows on the Brew Network, but it's fine. It's this show, and then maybe another one or two. I don't know.
I like the session. They have better potty jokes than us.
Yeah, they do have better potty jokes than us.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, they're a potty show. We're not a potty show. Maybe we're a potty adjacent.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. That's fine.
I feel the potty coming on tonight.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Are you feeling saucy?
Yeah, no.
Or incontinent?
Incontinent. Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah, there's a sign in the grocery store next to where I live. It says incontinence. There's a sign for incontinence that says incontinence.
Incontinence.
With a D. I'm like, whoa.
It's like when you're not condescending enough.
Yeah, exactly. Official misspellings on signs are one of my biggest pet peeves. It's so fun to find them.
That's Brian, of course, my co-host, and we have Keith back. Keith, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us. I'm excited that you did not get too much of us last time. And,
no, it's always fun.
Thanks for coming back, man. I appreciate it. We have some killer beers for you, but before we get into all that, we do have to talk about our sponsor, 5 Star. You can go to 5starchemicals.com, learn everything that you need to know about how to properly clean and sanitize your home brewing equipment. It's very, very important. Actually, I pulled off all my draft line because I didn't want to clean and sanitize everything. I just threw it all away. But I never put a new draft line without soaking it in PBW first.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Just getting all that plastic gunk out, and who knows, man? It's whatever. So I used a lot of PBW this weekend, actually. Cleaned a couple growlers and cleaned a keg and all that kind of stuff. So PBW, man, it's the way to go. Star San, that's the other way to go. The old 1-2 punch there. So check them out, 5starchemicals.com. Everybody on this show receives a nice little thank you pack from 5 Star, which is pretty cool too. So they're lovely folks. Support them because they support us, and they make a killer product.
Yeah, I was happy when I discovered their stuff. When I first started brewing, I would just clean with hot water. Because I was I don't want to use soap on my equipment, so I'll use hot water. And then,
yeah,
probably scrubbed it a little too much, and I was using a plastic bucket. So after a few batches, I started getting some gnarly, scratches on the buckets and getting some bad batches. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I should be fermenting in glass and using 5 Star stuff.
It is like pretty much every home brewer has that kind of learning curve. You know, it's everyone kind of, generally 80% of us start at the same area and we go through the same trials and tribulations.
Homebrew shop owner hands you some iota 4. Here, this is all you need.
Or you start with bleach and you read something, you're like, oh, it's a quarter teaspoon of bleach. And a tablespoon must even be better. So you put more and more bleach in,
Yeah, more is better, dude. More is always better.
Why do my beers taste like medicine?
I don't know, but they get you drunk. What do we have going on today? We have a Scottish 80, Scottish export 80 shilling. Those are the same two things.
Coming up, yeah.
And then we have a blonde ale from Chris, who's in the studio. How you doing, Chris?
Hi.
Welcome, Chris.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah,
Chris
appreciate
is from my club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mad Z's.
Mad Z's, huh?
We've brewed together. We've made...
okay.
Oh, we made a nice oatmeal stout.
Oh,
we made a Scottish ale.
Yeah,
like a wee heavy, was it? Or no, it was
kind of a weak Scottish ale.
A weak heavy.
A weak heavy.
It came out a little low. Yeah, we had some Yeah.
That's all right.
We had to pull the aluminum out of his mash tun there.
No, oh, man.
Aluminum mash tun?
No.
No? Is he just messing with you?
In the mash tun. Doing the recirc. I got a piece of aluminum over the top of the grain so I don't get any tunneling. And, Brian gave me props for the whole setup. But that just destroyed him when I put the aluminum foil into the mash tun.
Oh, aluminum foil on the grain?
I didn't like the foil sitting on the grain. It
got it.
bothered my sensibilities.
Why?
I couldn't say why.
It's just one of those things.
I forgot whether did you drill holes in it? So
I poked some holes in it, but that just bugged him the whole day. Okay. He couldn't get over it. Yeah,
I was having like a tweaky moment. Yeah. But the beer came out tasting okay. It didn't.
Okay.
It was, other than we're missing the gravity a little bit, it wasn't too bad.
Do you think aluminum foil would impact the flavor, or it's just one of those things that it's like nails on a chalkboard where you just, like you said, you can't figure out why it's weird. You just don't like it and stop doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like, I think I have a weird thing about foil in general. Like when I cook with foil, I'll put like wax paper. Like if I cook like, corn on the grill.
Yeah.
I'll put, wax paper in between the corn and the foil. Just because I don't want the aluminum molecules going into my corn. And I might get brain damage or something. I don't know. You never know.
No, you don't. And that's true, man. And I'm glad we're having this discussion. I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking on you. But is that something that a sane person... No, I'm kidding.
My great-great-grandchild might get like autism or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. No, but I mean, is it founded on anything, or you just don't like it? Which is totally fine, totally reasonable. If you don't like it, it feels weird or skeevy to you, then don't do it. That's fine.
It just felt weird. I don't mind. Foil in general, I don't mind, but just at hot temperatures on top of the mash, I just had an uneasy feeling.
It's just weird. It just weirds you out.
It weirded me out.
I think we all have stuff like that. I mean, I can't think of one personally, but I think most people have.
Yeah, you're as normal as they come, JP.
Yeah, dude. Wow. I brewed on my Pico Brew the other week.
Cool.
I caked some of that beer. We'll try it on the next show. Probably not on the show.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so no foil. I never really used foil in my brewing. I mean, maybe to like seal, like close the ends of like sanitized, hosing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm okay for brain damage.
Foil or saran wrap. If I didn't have saran wrap, I would use foil to like seal up the edges of my brew kettle when I'm chilling the beer.
So it's just hot side foil you don't like.
Hot side foil.
Hot side foil.
It's
okay.
bad for beer.
Okay.
No.
All right.
It sounds like you may already have brain damage. I'm not sure.
I eat foil, and that's a fact. Well, hey, look, I'll tell you what. We have Chris here. He already poured his beer, so why don't we just jump into it?
Sure.
And start drinking this American Blonde Ale. Keith, why don't you start us off, please, my friend, since Brian has already talked too much about foil.
Okay. On the aroma, it's some light caramel, had a hint of pineapple upside-down cake.
Oh, totally.
It's a paper cardboard, reminds me of oxidation going on there, light alcohol, and then also a little bit of cooked corn DMS.
It is very fruity smelling, like pineapple smelly. There's no fruit in here or anything? Chris?
No fruit.
In the
appearance,
deep gold, probably pretty close to the top end of the style there. It's probably allowable in style, but it's pretty dark. Pretty clear. It's almost brilliantly clear. Low white head, low retention, and just a little bit of lacing. Flavor. Just tasting it again. I got a lot of sweetness. Some of that oxidation again comes across to me a little bit like paper. Also, I get some light caramel, medium cooked corn flavor. Bitterness was, I thought, medium high for this style. I thought, it's probably still once again in style, but it felt a little high for it. The balance leans toward the malt though, still as appropriate. And then finally, I think there is actually a lot of sweetness. I thought for the style too. So I think it's kind of it was like a lot of bitterness and a lot of sweetness for this style. And then I got some fusel hotness, just not a ton, but just a little bit of that. Medium body, medium carbonation, Getting a little bit of warming too, which I think just not a lot, but just felt like for the style it was a little bit high in that aspect. So it was definitely a sweet version of the beer. A little bit on the dark side. That could be actually from oxidation. I think that was probably my biggest probably question for you would be what happened there, and is this an older beer? Did something happen along the way? Maybe a little more oxidation, oxygen pickup on transfer. But overall, I thought it was good. I gave it a 31. I would dial back maybe the specialty malts and the bitterness a little bit, make it a little more sessionable, a little more light, a little lighter. But overall, I thought, said it was a pretty good beer.
Excellent. Brian, what do you think, man?
Cool. Yeah, I like that pineapple thing. It does have a little sharp kind of tropically ester in there.
Yeah, like candied pineapple even too. It's tripped me out.
Yeah, it's a characterful blonde ale. It's got a nice bready malt aroma. I found very light DMS in the aroma, cooked corn note, with a light papery oxidation in the background. Now the second sample to me tastes a little less papery, and I don't know, it might have been shorter time in the bottle too. So the more intense paperiness in the first example could have been from just sitting in the bottle too long, or bottling technique and not being fresh in the bottle. But yeah, other than that, it's kind of in the background anyway. It's not super intense and like in your face cardboardy, but it's there. There's a low spicy floral hop in there. Not too much in the way at all. Just kind of a little accent. I didn't get any butteriness, no diacetyl. Didn't get any green appley acetaldehyde. Other than the little pineapple thing, it's not super fruity to me. But it does also have like kind of a low honey-like note to it in the aroma, which to me can also kind of be an expression of oxidation. Appearance-wise, it is a nice, clear, deep golden colored beer. Had a low white head that faded just after pouring. I mean, pretty much just like he said, and mostly finer bubbles around the rim of the glass after that. So kind of faded pretty quick. I knocked down a point for that. Flavor-wise, it's malty sweet, and it tastes. So the sweetness is a little interesting. It's like it's coming from that honey-like component a little bit, and the way it finishes is it's not like super sweet, like cloyingly sweet finish or anything like that. It's just. There's a little sweetness there, maybe semi-sweet finish, but as you get into the aftertaste, the honey-like character kind of lingers and gives you more of an impression of sweetness in the aftertaste. It does taste, again, a bit aged and oxidized past its prime. The first example did, again, more than the other. Again, a low, spicy, earthy hop. The malt is bready with a kind of a nice biscuitiness. I didn't get big caramel in it, more of the honey-like thing. But, we'll talk. It'd be nice to talk about what malts went into this other than the base malt. And what kind of base malts you used, if it was a Pils or we'll get to that. But, or just a U.S. base, 2-row. Low hop bitterness. It's not in the way at all. It's kind of nicely out of the way. Getting a hint of alcohol there. It seems like a little higher than or either towards the very high end for the style or a little higher than we wanted it to be. So yeah, it's an interesting flavor, but yeah, it's not as smooth and just crisp as I want a nice blonde ale to be. Mouthfeel-wise, medium light body, low carbonation, maybe a little too low warmth, not very creamy or smooth, but not getting any astringency in there either. It's kind of middle of the road. But decently brewed overall, a decently brewed blonde ale that tastes just a bit past its prime, and it was perhaps also on the stronger side. I would just watch the oxygen pick up at all stages, either in the bottling or letting it sit in the bottle too long, like might have happened. Although he gave it to me maybe a week ago or there, well, not even a week ago, was it? Yeah, or maybe it was a couple weeks.
These are both bottled. Well, all three of these were bottled on the same day.
At the same time. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So just watch oxygen pick up at all stages past primary and during bottling, purge your bottles. And pour the beer a little fresher. It'd be nice to taste it when it was, just right out of the secondary and post carbonation there to see how it tasted then. I don't know if there's any Pils malt in here, which can have more of that DMS precursor. I mean, everybody knows you want to do longer open kettle boil, just keep that DMS precursor away and avoid that, and then chill it quickly so that doesn't pop up. But I know Chris knows his ass from a hole in the ground, so I kind of feel funny even questioning that.
Yeah.
At least there's no aluminum flavors in this beer. So I give it a 29. I thought it was pretty good.
All right. Well, Chris, you have your recipe sheet in front of you. Why don't you fire that puppy off, man? You can talk about this beer.
Well, some notes. You mentioned the honey flavor. It's about 7.5% honey malt.
Okay.
So, that could do it. And then just some wheat, and the base is a raw 2-row.
Okay.
Willamette for the hops. That was the only hop.
That's a nice hop to use for a blonde.
And then the yeast was an ESB ale yeast.
Okay. I thought I was getting almost like a more characterful yeast thing from it. I was talking to Keith about it after we judged it, and like, is there like a hint of some like kind of an English yeast note in there? Which is nice because it drops out nice and bright like this.
Yeah, which strain was it?
The
ESP, the 1968.
1968, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, and that's that one you tend to get some diacetyl from if you're not treated properly, and there's no diacetyl in this beer at all. So, well done there, definitely.
Yeah, it had a nice strong fermentation. This was brewed back on August 21st and bottled on October 5th. So it was. I thought it was really good in the keg. My wife did too. She thought it was great. So.
That's almost the most important part of this whole this whole thing right here.
And you bottled them about what? So our meeting was what week?
Yeah, I bottled them October 5th. So just 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. Does it taste a little different to you than from the keg?
It does.
From the bottle? Yeah.
And what are you using to bottle the beer? Are you using a beer gun or something?
It's a counter pressure bottle filler, not a
one of those metal ones with the
not a beer gun. Yeah,
yeah.
Works for me.
Yeah,
the old counter pressure. Yeah,
and it lets you purge
like
the bottles and all of that, right?
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, what do we think about the kind of pineapple?
Yeah, I'm wondering,
like candied pineapple. Where could that be coming from?
I mean, some is that from the honey malt though too. It's been a while since I used honey malt in that high a percentage. And
what percentage was it, Chris?
7, I believe.
7.4.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what size batch?
It was an 11-gallon batch.
What is that pound wise? 2 pounds. I don't know.
Almost 2 pounds. Yeah. 1 pound 14.
That's not well. Yeah.
It seems a little high. I mean, I wouldn't use it that high. It's one of those malts that does stand out a lot when you taste it.
Yeah.
In beers, so I think that would be probably my guess of what's giving us that pineapple. It's not the hops. Willamette's not going to give you that. Character at all.
You think it's that with the ESB yeast?
Possibly, yeah.
Could it be the fermentation profile?
You haven't talked about that, right?
Yeah. So the ESB is the normal range 64 to 72, and I targeted this 68. So it spent most of the time riding about 69 degrees till the last 4 days. I bumped it up to 70, 71.
So on that high end anyway of the spectrum.
Yeah, mid to high.
When you take your temperature of your fermentation, do you have a probe that's inside the?
It's a probe
the fermenter? On the outside.
Yeah, taped to the side.
So it could be you have it at 68. It could be even 72 in the beer, 74.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this one you get started out a little lower and then come up to that, the mid upper 60s and do your diacetyl rests. Although if you're not careful, you might get a little bit of that butter too. So gonna go easy, but
I mean because it is good. It has a lot of good flavors to it.
But I'm getting also some a little bit of alcohol and maybe not just like a little bit of a sharper alcohol. Not that it's
that might be from
strong.
The alcohol though.
Is it 6.5?
Oh, yeah. This I brewed this with Tom O'Hara.
Yeah.
And
put in more malt.
No, he's great. But we had a little better efficiency on the system that day. no explanation.
Yeah.
But
those random homebrew days, man.
Yeah. So I had targeted this recipe for the upper end of the style anyhow, and we kind of went over. So
what did you do? What did you target and what did you hit?
And well, target was 1055 for an original gravity. I think it came about 1057, 58.
That's not
so
too
it was
bad.
just a few points high, but it was already at the top of the style to begin with.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And then what did it ferment down to?
It was good. It hit 10, 12.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice because there's still a little bit of sweetness in there, and it plays off that honey nicely. It's just the honey, to me, it throws me off a little bit. It's not what I expect in a blonde ale, so it was like, that's interesting. And I'm like, to me, when oxidation starts expressing itself, it can come across as a honey-like before it gets into that papery thing. And the second sample, for some reason, it has a little more of just the honey-like. Maybe there's less oxygen in that bottle particularly, but it just has the honey and less of the papery. But, it's interesting how that comes across in the beer. I would definitely, maybe lighten that up and play with something else. I know you probably don't want to make it, you consciously avoided crystals, so you probably don't want it to be a super caramelly beer or anything like that. But, sometimes a little bit of light crystal or carapils or something in there with you used wheat and you used raw Arturo. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, even just small amounts of a different color of crystals, like using like a 15 and maybe a 60, just in really small percentages, gives you an interesting flavor mix there that not one ingredient stands out. Like the honey malt here, it kind of like hits you in the head a little bit. So.
Yeah. But, by all means, it was a pleaser. Hey, brew it again.
Yeah.
Or
it tastes great.
lighten up the honey and see if you can get away with a little less of that and still have it be as good to what your wife likes.
I actually have another batch fermenting right now. So.
Same exact recipe?
Little tweaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll taste that one within a couple weeks then.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. Do you have any questions for what the guys ran through tonight?
No, you guys covered it. Covered pretty good.
Anything about aluminum that you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the aluminum.
The aluminum is fine. It's the aluminium you have to worry about. That's the fucked up part.
I only use it for hats to avoid
if you have to have a hang up,
interference.
that's okay, right?
Yeah.
No, thanks for the review.
No,
Appreciate
thanks for
it.
coming on the show for sure.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. All right, hang tight. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to have some Scottish export from Keith. It's Dr. Homebrew. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making. Admit it.
Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com. Now, back to the examination.
Hey, look who's back. It's Dr. Homebrew. Thanks for sticking with us. You know, we were talking about hops in the last with Chris's beer, and I want to tell you guys, of course, about our close personal friend, Nico Brew. Nico Brew has the hops you're looking for, from your standard recipe staples to those hard-to-find deals. After 7 years, they're still offering their famous $5 shipping. And with their super fast turnaround, you'll be brewing in no time, dude. All of their hops are nitrogen flushed and vacuum sealed in Mylar packaging to make sure you get the freshest hops available. They even have commercial accounts available to pro brewers and homebrew shops. Check out the new Nico Brew swag, like baby onesies, teas for toddlers, and even something for you grown-ups out there. Head over to nicobrew.com today for all your hop needs. nicobrew.com. I like Nico. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
he wears a skirt a lot, which is weird. It's off-putting, but he's a nice guy.
He is.
I mean, he calls it a kilt, I think is what he calls it, but whatever.
Don't reach under there.
Okay.
Appropriately, Scottish beer coming up.
Yeah, right. So this is from Keith Baker. We don't have Keith on the line, so we're just going to have to kind of do our best here. Although he did put his phone number here, and I just don't want to call him because the guy's in Ohio, and I don't know what time it is in Ohio. It's like 2:30 in the morning out there. So I don't want to like wake anybody up or whatever. So
11:40?
Yeah.
Let me send him a text.
just a bunch of midget pictures. No, don't send him a text.
Oh, man.
Okay, well, let's try this beer. How about that?
Okay.
Brian, I think you should go first since I made Keith go first last time.
Okay.
Scottish export.
Keith's Scottish, not our Keith, but yeah, Keith out there in Ohio. It has, in the aroma, has a pleasantly complex malt character there. It's got a lot of it's got like kind of a cracker crumb thing, a lot of bread crust. It's almost got like this a rich kind of Munich German malt kind of thing going on, and toasty, biscuity notes. I'm not getting any DMS or diacetyl. It seems cleanly brewed. Low esters overall. I didn't get a big fruitiness on this one. I mean, maybe a little bit of like a fig or kind of a thing in there. But other than that, it's got kind of a low, spicy, earthy hop just in the background. Clean and inviting. I like the aroma a lot. Appearance-wise, it's a rich copper color, nice color with the burnished orange highlights. Quite clear. Started with a low off-white head that faded after a pretty short time. But some of these can be low carbonation beers, too. So, there's kind of a rim of just finer bubbles around the edges here, and that's fine. But you would expect the head to stick around a little bit better. Pleasantly malty in the flavor with toasty, bready, bread crust-like components again. I got a low orangey citrus ester in the flavor that I thought was kind of interesting. Maybe from something from the yeast is kicking out. But it seems like a clean, otherwise low temp ale fermentation. Low bitterness. The hops are not very high at all. There's a hint of a little earthiness. And the finish is interesting. It finishes kind of medium dry. It's got a fair amount of sweetness in it still. It's not. It's more medium than dry. It's not very what you get when you have the like the base malt playing off a roasted grain, roasted barley thing, where you get that kind of neat little malty, rich note in the very late finish in the aftertaste when it dries out. I don't know if it's just the sweetness getting in the way of that, or if it's something with the malt bill that's making it express in a different way. I would expect it might be a more complex malt bill than your typical Scottish, but I'm still enjoying it. It wasn't too sweet. It wasn't like cloying or anything like that. And it kind of balances the malt in other ways. It's kind of interesting. And there's a range for what you can have in these beers as it is, so I forgive that. Body-wise, it's medium-bodied, medium-low carbonation, no obvious astringency. It's also not super creamy. I didn't get any warmth in here. It's just really pretty smooth on the palate overall. It's not harsh or biting at all. It just goes down smooth and feels pretty good. So nothing sticking out there too badly.
Feels good, man.
I feel good. Very pleasant. Overall, a clean Scottish export. I did think it had a nice complexity of malt, maybe a little off from the typical kind of classic finish that you would get in that with the roasted barley. Just a small percentage of roasted barley to give it that little, richness at the end. But it's got an interesting complexity and it's very quaffable. You could dry it out just a touch to see if that malty dry impression comes out. But to me, the sweetness is also not all that distracting. I think it works pretty well as it is. So I gave it a 36. I liked the beer quite a bit.
Excellent. Yeah, I like it too. It's really good. All right, Keith, judge your beer. I mean, not your beer, but another Keith's beer. It might as well be your beer. Same name.
I've lived in Ohio, but not Toledo. How did the Indians do, by the way? I didn't see the final score of the game. If it's over,
They were up. Yeah.
I don't know either.
Who knows when? Anyway, I was talking about the Browns game yesterday. I'm kidding. Anyway, I thought, medium malt, a lot of toastiness, just a hint of caramel. I did get some fruit like some apple esters in this. I did get some alcohol as well. I know Brian didn't pick up much on that, but I did notice some alcohol. Thought it was a little bit, even in the aroma was a little bit, I got some of that when I wouldn't expect that necessarily in this beer style. No smoke, which is great. Someone didn't make the mistake of putting smoked malt in it. Awesome. Go quickly over appearance. Amber, almost brilliantly clear. A little bit of haze. Just slightly off white head. Once again, low lacing, low head overall. Not a lot of head retention. Sweet, definitely flavor wise. Toastiness just jumps out at me. Also getting that fruit again, some apple. Just a touch of caramel. I wasn't really getting a hop flavor at all, and the balance is definitely toward the malt, but it does have a dry finish to it. Otherwise, really clean. No DMS, no diacetyl, no phenols or anything like that. Medium carbonation, medium low body. Thought the alcohol was warming a little bit again for the beer. It's up to 1060 is the OG for this beer style. I think the final gravity, on the top of my head, maybe down to 1014. Feels a little bit hotter in that in general to me. Just feels a little bit bigger. Overall, I like the beer. I just felt like the malt character was really, really focused toward the toastiness. It almost reminded me more of a Bock in terms of the malt character.
Okay. Yeah.
Not as rich as a Bock, definitely a smaller Bock, but the toastiness was there and not much caramel that I normally would see in a beer. There's not even a ton of caramel or a little bit of roast. And, the dryness may be coming from the roast because you expect the roasted malt to dry it out a little bit. But I don't know. It just seemed like it was missing a little bit in terms of the malt character that I'm usually looking for in this beer. Otherwise, I thought it was really clean, other than just being a little bit too fruity for my taste. A little too much apple, and I gave it a 30 overall.
I see where you're going with the Bock, with that Bock like comment, like a small beer Bock. Or yeah, sure.
Dunkel, yeah, Dunkel. That's a good call.
Yeah. So the Indians just pulled it off, 6-0. Just ended.
There you go. Is that the World Series? I don't even know.
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Keith, what malts did you use in this beer, man? I really want to know.
Actually, one other thing I wanted to ask about is that it sort of the perception of the body and just the perception of the sweetness in the beer. I wanted to really ask this Keith if what he did with the water. It really felt like it was not quite tart, but it was going down that route of, it was going a little bit lower. It felt like a lower pH sort of beer. I didn't bring my pH meter with me today, so I didn't get a chance to test the pH of it, but it felt like it was a little bit low. It didn't, for maltier beers, I tend to like the pH to be a little bit higher, and it feels like this one was a little bit lower, and it sort of changed the perception of the beer a little bit.
Start with more of like an alkaline, chalky water kind of, yeah.
What is that? What would you see in a higher pH?
I think a little more fullness and flavor. Like this one comes off as very, very dry, and even though it's sweet, it has like this sort of really crisp finish to it. And normally, like I said, you get that from a Scottish, sometimes from a dark malt. But to me, it feels like I'm not getting that flavor from the dark malt at all. And it somehow coming across as like maybe it is a water thing, and maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I'm like I worry about that. This beer is that's why the perception is coming off as super dry. It's like sweet and then really, really kind of dry at the same time. And getting a higher mash pH and just having your pH a little bit higher provides you a little more fullness in general with the beer.
Okay.
Why isn't Keith answering me? Keith, what kind of water did you use? Sorry. No, I'm sorry, man. I wish you could be on the show with us.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what happened. He kind of dropped off. I mean, sometimes it's last minute here on Dr.
Passed
Homebrew.
out.
I'm not going to lie.
Sometimes I pass out, like, get the kids to bed, and I'll just,
I have a feeling that's what it is.
pass out.
and you're just done, dude. Yeah. No,
then I wake up
sure,
at 5:30 in the morning, like wide awake.
Yeah, and look, we've had that before too on the show where people will email at like 10:30 and I'm here editing the show and it's like, dude, I'm so sorry, but it's exactly that same thing. I put the kid down and I just laid down for like half a second and now it's this time and whatever.
To sleep.
Yeah, so wherever he is, I'm sure he's doing great, but I also don't think he has any questions. Any other tips we would give to this guy for making this a little better?
Yeah, I would look at the malt bill first, and then maybe the water after that, and just try to get that classic style dialed in a little better. But I thought it was a very good beer. It was cleanly brewed. Like his fermentation seemed pretty good.
I would pay for a pint of this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was a little estery, but I think there I would just look at the temp and the yeast strain you're using. If you're using a Scottish, then just look at the temperature. If you're using something else, then maybe change your yeast strain.
Well, sometimes like a Munich malt can give you a little fruity impression too.
True.
So it could be something playing off
malt
of that.
character.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a real quick break, and we'll come back and we'll give some stuff away, and we'll talk about some stuff. Actually, before we do that, you guys were talking about water, and of course, every time we talk about water, think of our friends at the iDip, the Smart Brew Water Testing Kit, which incorporates a revolutionary photometer system, which is the first and only one on the market, and with its own app. You can use it in your home brewery or in your commercial brewery. It takes great water to make great beer. We all know that. And it doesn't matter if you're using a carbon filter from your tap system or you have some elaborate system in your commercial brewery. The iDip will help you figure that out. It's the only meter on the market that runs water tests with no math needed on your part. It pairs via Bluetooth and updates your water results instantly to your own personal water profile, which you can then email to your brewers or to your homebrew club. You can post it on Facebook for everybody to see, whatever you want to do, man. You can test over 40 different water quality tests. 4 come preloaded. More are available. You can test for things like total alkalinity, chloride, calcium hardness, pH, sulfate, and much, much more.
It will literally tell you and probably smack you upside the head if you try to use water from your swimming pool to brew beer with.
But you can. But people
way too much chlorine in your water here. But
I mean, you could, if you have a pool, this is the perfect thing that you can kind of pass by the family. Hey, we need a new pH meter for the pool. We just need it. That's what it is. You don't want people to get the red eye thing or the blonde hair, green hair thing or whatever. Only 4 mils of water are needed for each test. So if you're building your water, man, the iDip, check it out. Go to smartbrewkit.com. Use the code TBN10 at checkout, and you can save $10 on either the standard or the advanced Smart Brew testing kit. That's smartbrewkit.com. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. It's Dr. Homebrew. Go get a beer, would you?
Do you know the three most important rules in brewing: sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star Sand, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today.
Grog tags aren't just for labeling your home brews to hand out to your friends. They're the perfect way to round out your personal brewing marketing. Bringing your latest beer to a funeral? Craft a metal sign to go with it. Heading out to little Liam's bar mitzvah? Grog Tag custom bottle caps are awesome. Couldn't get out of jury duty this year? Grog Tag the hell out of the deliberation room with reusable labels. Grog Tag has an awesome array of products just waiting to be customized by you. Metal signs, coasters, tasting mats, bottle caps, tap handles. It's all there waiting for your designs at Grog Tag. Liven up your next party with the widest selection of custom products ever offered by a sponsor of the Brewing Network. Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
Thanks for sticking with us. Hope you guys got that beer, because I'll tell you what, the show is much better much better with beer. Speaking of beer, our friends Deschutes are launching a brand new beer called Armory Experimental Pale Ale. Comes in at 5.9 ABV and 55 IBUs. I mean, us beer nerds, we need to know that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? More and more, all that kind of stuff is now marketing, which is very weird. A couple years ago, you'd never see IBUs, really.
You see it on the bottles a lot more.
You see it on a lot more bottles, which is kind of cool. But then again, it kind of doesn't really mean anything to me at the same time. You know what I mean? Like 38, yeah. It's like 38. Like, I mean, I guess a range is, I guess a range is helpful. No, I take that back. A range is helpful.
You'd want to know exactly. I mean, it's not a range, it's an exact IBU per se.
Yeah.
No. Anyway.
So 55 for a pale ale, that's on the higher end, right? Which I think is what we want for West Coast pale ales, right? Yeah. That's kind of what we're looking for. A little bit more hop forward.
Low IPA range, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. And so each round will be brewed with a different experimental hop. So this batch is hopped with a bunch of hops. It's hopped with Nugget, Northern Brewer, Cascade, Centennial, which is kind of very, old school, and then the new school experimental number 07270, which apparently is grown at the Deschutes Hop Farm. I've had this beer. I should have brought a bottle in for you guys. I'm stupid. It's very tropical, of course, very like new school kind of hop. It's a delicious beer. And to celebrate, Deschutes is giving away a trip to their experimental hop farm. All you have to do is snap a photo of you enjoying their new Armory XPA and share it on Instagram or Twitter using hashtag Armory XPA and, at Deschutes Beer. For more information, head to DeschutesBrewery.com/XPA. So go ahead and get your snaps on, dude. Get your snap on, girl. That'd be cool. Win a trip to the hop farm, to the Deschutes Hop Farm. I mean, that's got to be a cool spot. And think about all the beers that they have up there that you don't, that aren't in production.
I like visiting hop farms.
Well, you should go pick up a sixer of the Armory, dude. XPA.
I'll do it.
Taking them Insta snaps.
What's an Insta snap?
Instagram snap a big
Grandma's Facebook.
Grandma Facebook, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, let's give away some stuff, Brian.
Okay.
So for our $40 At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate, that's our good people at grogtag.com, $40 to customize your labels, or now they're actually doing customizable T-shirts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a whole new thing. They're just kind of starting out. So you can actually get the label that you make printed on a fucking T-shirt.
And they do tap handles and stuff, too.
Tap handles, all that kind of shit. Anyway, $40 to Grog Tag. Who is going on a shopping spree at Grog Tag?
Let's go into our friend Chris over here.
Hey! All right. Good job, Chris. Let me... where did I...
This beer already does look good, though.
There we go, Grog Tag. Grog Tags. Nice work. So then... let's see. We do have something else to give away, too, which means that our friend Keith, who's not here, wins the Beer Bug.
Cool.
We have one of those every month to give away. You guys are familiar with the Beer Bug. You have a Beer Bug.
Yeah,
You're using the Beer Bug. It's a wireless device. Sits in your carboy. Sits on the top of your carboy. Drops right into your beer. It'll tell you exactly what's going on with your beer, fermentation, your temperature, what your gravity is at, when it started, when it stops, when it starts to plateau. And so you can actually pull your beer out in a proper amount of time and stop it. You're a big fan of it for meads, you're saying, Brian?
Yeah,
you need to know.
If you want to stop your mead at a certain finishing gravity, you'll know when it hits that.
Yeah. So that's very cool. So
nice.
Thank you to Grog Tag, and thank you to the folks at Beer Bug. And thank you to Chris for being here and hanging out with us. And thanks to Keith for sending us his beer. I liked them both. They were both pretty good, man.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, I dug them. I dug on them pretty good.
What would it taste like if you mixed them together?
I don't know. Do you want to find out? I got a friggin' fruit fly in mind. Do it. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Excuse me. What's that blend? He says.
It's like a Munich-y honey. I don't know. Yeah, it's different. Not something I'd want to brew.
You wouldn't recommend it?
No.
No?
Let's not do it.
That's too bad. I was hoping we were on to something new, man. Look, before we get out of here, I want to tell you guys about the Brew Guru app from our friends at the Homebrew Association, American Homebrew Association. It'll deliver sage brewing knowledge and money-saving deals at breweries, beer bars, and homebrew supply shops. American Homebrew Association designed this powerful app to help homebrewers and craft beer lovers explore the wide world of beer that we all share and exist in. With the Brew Guru app, you can effortlessly find deals and save money on beer, food, and brewing supplies. Level up your brew IQ with hand-picked articles, recipes, and resources from the American Homebrew Association and Zymergy, so you can actually read full-on articles, Zymergy articles, on this app. And the Brewery Locator, which will find nearby breweries, tap rooms, beer bars, homebrew supply shops, and brew pubs wherever you are. Get the app today, homebrewsassociation.org. It's free for iPhone, iPad, whatever you want to do. But you link it with your AHA membership, and then you just show them the app every time you go in to like claim a discount. You don't have to dig for the card or go, look, I promise. I'm a member.
When you're close to good beer and when there's a good discount nearby. I was up in Portland recently and like last weekend, and I was always telling me, there's a good brewery nearby.
Oh, really?
Take advantage of this discount.
Oh, there you go.
So, just have it send you the push notifications, and you can always get good beer around you and save a little bit.
That's cool, man. I'm glad you were using it. I'm glad it was helpful. All right, everybody, get more radio like this. Go on thebrewingnetwork.com, but you already know that. And listen to more shows, would you? It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Thanks a lot for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.